Hello again, everyone. Andy Garcia here, looking at the markets, and I'm looking at the major currencies that we look at. As you know, looking at 4-hour charts here, the dollar index futures and the major currencies. And what you're taking a look at here is last week's trading range compared to this week's trading range. And what I've done is illustrated here. You got last week and this week's trading range. But the important thing to notice here is the dollar index futures trying to break down below last week's low, somewhere around the middle of the week, and then putting in a substantial low here with a higher low. So you can see here that the market came in, found the buyers, and then again the buyers are willing to pay up to put in a higher low price here at 79.10 before rallying into the back end of the week, closing right around last week's close. Not able to maintain the break to the downside as you would expect. As you can see here, breaking down below last week's trading range low, and then even using it as resistance here a number of times before ultimately failing towards the back end of the week. As you can see, we did use those levels as resistance after breaking down and essentially giving you a pretty decent trade back to the downside if you would have taken them. As you can see on the in comparison, the euro had tried to break out early on in the week, failed, and then ultimately was able to break out, pushing up to about 133.07, and then retraced here, finding some support, but ultimately finishing the week pretty much close to last week's high. And so now the question here is whether or not the market is going to be able to break out of this little falling, this bullish, what do you call it, a bullish flag here. Sorry about that little lapse of anyways. So the this pullback here, looking for the market to push back to the 33.07 level, or looking in next week and see if this market will actually fail back below the 131 level. Now, when you pay attention here to the pound here, you can see that there was a nice little breakout, pushing you very nicely, 160, 169, all the way to 163, and then failing. Not a very good close here to the pound, and that would probably confirm what we're looking at here in the Australian dollars. You can see while the euro was able to break out at the same time, the pound was trying to push the highs of the week. You can see that the Australian dollar was actually pushing lows here, pushing and then breaking down, finding resistance at 104.60, and then essentially finishing really weak on to round out the week. So now going into next week, it seems like the Australian dollar is giving us a heads up that there's potentially more downside to come in the euro and the pound. So going into, as you can see, the rest of the markets here, you got the Japanese yen trading above last week's high after it broke out, using last week's high as support. This is one thing that I love about this, is that same thing with the Swiss franc, pushing down below last week's low, and then obviously using it as resistance on Friday, but not able to go and push up as high as the dollar, which is very important why you watch the dollar. It's because even though the Swiss franc was not able to push up in the middle of the week back up to the previous week's low, you can see here the resistance that hit in the dollar, which essentially gives you the reason to get short in the Swiss franc. On the other hand, at the same time that the Australian dollar was breaking out to the downside, you can see here that the Canadian is pushing above last week's high and then actually finished pretty strongly. So a bit of a choppy breakout here about the middle of the week, looked like it was going to fail, and then all of a sudden rallied back up above 99 even, and then pushed almost up to 99.60. The question here going into next week that I'll be asking myself is this low here from 12.17, if it was a low that was strong enough to hold the dollar higher. As you can see, I'm thinking that might be the case. So as long as we can stay above this 79 even going into next week, I'll be watching the dollar index futures to make sure that it continues to rally, pushing back above 80. Any kind of failure back below 79 is going to have some pretty negative implications on the dollar index going into the beginning of the 2013 year. And at the same time, that suggests if the dollar can hold this level, we did have a nice test of support here at 79. So if that proves to be the case, also have the test of the high of the year in the pound and the Australian dollar rolling over. So a little bit of confirmation here going into next week, looking for a strength in the dollar. Now, if that proves to be the case, then we're going to see the euro pushing down below the 130 even level. So hope that helps. That's all I got for this market wrap, folks. This is Andy signing off. Good luck in your trading. Stay safe out there, best regards to all. We'll see you at the next market wrap. And Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Happy holidays, whatnot. And we'll see you at the next market wrap.
While I got you here, I wanted to take a quick moment to say that if you really liked what you're looking at here in the free Forex market wrap video, I wanted to give you the opportunity to come take a look at the premium weekly Forex market wrap video that I do every week. And basically it's a little bit more in depth, or should I say a lot more in depth information about the markets that I cover. And you can see here that in this short video I go over the basics about what I've been looking at on the major currencies. In the more in-depth market wrap video, I take a look at a in-depth analysis on the 6 major currency pairs. You also get actionable trading scenarios. The important thing here is that we're offering a 3-day risk-free trial, so you don't have to pay a cent. It's about a 30 to 45 minute video that'll go through all the major currency pairs that I look at, and it shows you a lot more in-depth analysis and forecast, looking at the longer term picture and the big major trends that are affecting what you're looking at on the lower time frames that you're looking at on a day-to-day basis. So take a moment to go take a look at the premium market wrap video. You can see the link here provided, www.traderstouch.com/3day, and it also includes a free membership to the Traders Learning Network, where you can meet other traders that are like-minded individuals, and they're basically there to help everybody looking at the same markets as you. So good luck, hope it helps, and look forward to seeing you on the inside.